Welcome to Six Figs. I'm Kyle, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Nervos Network CKB at a high level. Now, we are going to be talking about everything from hard forks to hacks to price actions. So there's a lot to be bullish about with Nervos Network. I've been covering this chain since February of 2021, believe it or not, and I've made hundreds of videos on why I love Nervos Network. So check some of them out if you get a chance. Stock Panda on X goes to say that the Meepo Hard Fork of the Nervos Network blockchain was deployed on the testnet in October of 24. There is a main network activation happening on July 1st, 2025. So there is going to be a hard fork of the chain on July 1st, 2025. You know, I always get excited and nervous at the same time about hard forks. You know, what ifs, run through my mind. But at the end of the day, when you see chains forking, it's always for the better. It's trying to improve the chain or trying to avoid problems or something like that. So this is a necessary thing that happens all the time in the cryptoverse. This is going to give Nervos Network more stability by incorporating consensus and networking optimizations. The Meepo Hard Fork is expected to promote a more stable and performant CKB network. We all want that, right? The ecosystem upgrade as a breaking change, the hard fork will foster better security and upgrade best practices across the CKB ecosystem. Security is paramount in blockchain and building in general. When you see projects forking, adding security layers, things like that, this is something that you absolutely want to see in a hard fork. Now, this prevents a lot of issues like hacking, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But this gives Nervos Network runway for future developments. So this is going to be more or less linked to RGB++ and the fiber network, which is going to help the whole ecosystem grow. Getting into the hacking in just a second, May 31st, 2025, CKB announced that Nervos Network announced that they're shutting down Forcebridge or Godwoken, or I should say Magic Base announced this. I don't know if they're a bridge operator or what, but they will sunset the bridge 6/1 of 2025 or start it. This gives the users to take care of all their last minute affairs, get their assets off the bridge and things like that. Now, they put that out May 31st, and like within 24 hours, Forcebridge suffered a hack, which is very unfortunate. They've identified the root cause of the execution path of the exploit. Key evidence has been preserved, and they're working closely with law enforcement and things like that to try to figure out what happened. Hopefully none of the funds got washed through like Tornado Cash or anything like that, but it doesn't matter for the users because they went on to say that the users will not bear losses from this incident. So it's very noble of the bridge operators to commit to something like this. I always love to see the users get taken care of. Neon says significant jump in CKB node count over the past few months. Now, over the past year, we've seen unique addresses skyrocket, and I think this is due in part to applications like Joy ID, which is an insanely good, high-quality crypto wallet. I can't say enough good things about Joy ID. It's like an absolute stunner. Biometrics, it's got it all. I mean, it's so easy to use. But yeah, we are seeing things like hash rate really increase over the year or two. So that tells us that people are mining, they're securing the network. The interest in securing the network is higher than average. So it's good to see that hash rate's up. We're seeing lots of addresses being created and used. The network seems to be doing just fine. So follow Nervos Network at Nervos Network on X, and also follow Nervos Nation This is a great spot for the community to gather. They've got a really cool Telegram group. A lot of the foundation members of Nervos Network mingle in Nervos Nation. You got questions, things like that. It's a great resource. If you want to integrate into the community, just feel free. Now, when it comes to price action, now you guys have heard me at the very beginning of this video how I was super bullish on price action, and really it comes down to like three different patterns that I'm seeing. But at the end of the day, there is a very, very nice falling wedge. And this is a very multi-year falling wedge, meaning this thing stretches all the way back to 2024. And what we're seeing is a very nice squeeze in price. And I do think that price action has some potential going into this bull run. So you can see price is squeezing. This thing is, dating back to May of 2024, somewhere in there. So we're just over a year. And typically, the bigger the pattern, the bigger the move you see out of the gates. Now, I do think that there are some great things or catalysts for Nervos Network's CKB as far as price is concerned. It's not listed on Coinbase. We've got Vitalik Buterin saying he wants to ditch Ethereum's EVMs and go RISC-V. Nervos Network is one of the only chains running RISC-V, and I think that if Ethereum goes that route, Nervos Network is the first in line to maybe do some sort of collaboration or bridging or something like that along those lines. There is going to be an opportunity, a door that opens up there. So those are very nice catalysts that could happen and could impact the price of CKB. This is not financial or trading advice, but one thing that I always love to kind of look for is Elliott wave theory momentum. Impulse waves, they're called. So with the fact that span 2 to 3 can never be the shortest distance, I always like to speculate on point 0 to 1, meaning that point 2 to 3 must be at least as long as point 0 to 1, if not longer. So that brings us with a price tag of about 0.057 at the minimum. Now, what's also interesting about this was I threw up some Fibonacci extensions, and this price tag lands right in the middle, nearly on the golden ratio of 161.8. So it's kind of right in the middle of the 161.8 and the 127. 127 is a very common reversal point, bearish and bullish. The golden ratio, 161.8, traders use that as a point where they start to either accumulate or offload bags, things like that. But if we really see this thing start to run, I mean, we could see CKB run the gambit and run all the way up to the 476 at just under 17 cents. It wouldn't be that hard to hit, in my opinion. That would only be about a $6.87 billion market cap, if I'm not mistaken. And when it comes down to it, I think that projects like CKB, Nervos Network, could easily do that in a full-blown bull market. Now, that would be approximately a 40x-ish from the current prices if we ran up to about 17. Currently, we could see at least a 12x, somewhere in that neighborhood, up to the 161.8. So there are some very favorable trades that could possibly be projected here, or maybe even thought of as like a very bullish thing. The other two things that I'm seeing here is just straight up. This is a gigantic inverse head and shoulders. And I mean, this thing is huge. So when it comes down to it, we do have an inverse head and shoulders on the charts. And whether or not this is one giant inverse head and shoulders, there could also be the start to another inverse head and shoulders here. We might see something like this. We don't know. But the third pattern that I'm seeing, which is a very gigantic one, really, it's a very nice cup and handle. And at the end of the day, I thought that we were going to see more of a defined V-shape handle on this, but last December, the markets completely broke down. So now, at the end of the day, we pretty much just have this cool little handle. Now, to gauge, basically gauge where a cup and handle can project price to, obviously the size matters. That's what she said. But a lot of times traders will measure from the bottom of the cup up to the brim. And really, at the very lowest point, it's suggesting that we could hit right around that 6-cent level, or around the level that I was saying earlier with Elliott wave theory, right around that 6 cents. This is at the lower end. And at the higher end, traders like to really kind of think that, okay, if I stack this trend line on top of the cup, you know, we could see this thing maybe run up to 64 cents, which would be really cool. I mean, that would be a 20 billion plus market cap at that point, and it would be, I don't know, a hell of a lot of gains, maybe 150x from here at 0.004. So do I think that we could hit 64 cents? You know, this isn't financial or trading advice. Nothing in this video is. I'm just speculating. You start to talk about the Ethereum effect that could possibly happen. You start to talk about if Coinbase list CKB, we could see a lot more volume push this price up rather quickly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on CKB. We're going to be covering CKB in depth, and I've got a great video that I'm editing right now about RISC-V, Ethereum, Vitalik, and Nervos network, and why it stands to shine and stand out. So I'll be releasing that probably sometime next week. And I've also got another price prediction video on Nervos network going forward next week to release. So hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.